Welcome to Urban Knife Guy, where we discuss knives for city dwellers. Today we're going to have a look at the TwoSun TS21 with titanium handle and morning night finish. TwoSun is a company out of Yangjiang, China, and this is the Guangdong province in southern China. The Chinese name of the company or the brand is Liangyang, that translates directly to two sun, although grammatically it should be two suns with the S. But never mind, let's have a look inside. It's a very simple packaging. There's a sleeve like this, and we have a simple box made of recycled packaging. And here we have the knife inside. The reason I bought this knife was for the handle finish. TwoSun calls this the morning night finish, and I got this info from a video I saw of them in Blade Show where they talked about this finish. Now underneath white light, as it is under the lights here, it's really nice. You can really see the details and it looks bright, it looks really attractive, and that's really what attracted to me, to this knife. But to be honest, if you do not have bright light, the finish is much darker in real life and you only get the vibrant look under the direct white light. I believe the product images that you see in sales sites, well, I believe they've been touched up in post, or the studio lights were positioned just right to capture all the right angles and showcase the colors. But when the light does catch the design, it's really nice. And I believe that is why they call it morning night, so it reflects how it looks depending on the lighting conditions. The overall feel of the knife is solid and it feels very well constructed. When I first got this, I did feel that the detent ball was a bit dirty with grains of sand or dirt. The detent ball is what holds the blade in place when it's closed, in its closed position that is, and detents are commonly found on folding knives that have inner locks or frame locks, and this knife is a frame lock. So what I had to do was to clean it, oil it, and it was much better. It was likely that the factory or the packing facility is very dusty. So before we get to the specs of this knife, let's do some size comparisons of similar size and style blades. Let's start with the Benchmade Foray. Slightly smaller, as you can see overall. This is another Chinese brand. This is with armor, and this is their Gent knife. And we have an American made knife, the Buck Sprint Select. And finally, an Altoids tin. Here's a quick look at the specs of the TwoSun TS21. The blade length is 3.43 inches long, the close length is 4.53 inches long, and the overall length is 7.95 inches long. The blade width is 0.9 inches wide and the thickness is 4 mm. This is a drop point style knife blade. It's a full flat grind with a swedge, or I guess you could consider it a very high saber grind, but quite an attractive knife. The blade material is D2 satin finish with a CNC machine grinding. Now D2 is a premium steel of a special segment. It is a semi-stainless steel as it does not have the 13% chromium content to be considered stainless. But the alloy has a high level of carbon and chromium in it, and so it's very resistant to corrosion, wear, as well as all kinds of loads and mechanical stress. The finished D2 knife has excellent cutting properties and will not dull with prolonged use. However, when dulled, it is quite difficult to sharpen. Now, this blade has a sharpening choil and the finger guard that fits the overall design of the knife. The deployment is a flipper style mechanism, and this runs on ball bearings. It's got a very solid feel when deploying, and it's got a good lockup as well. This is a frame lock, which means that the lock is built into the frame, just like that. So you push it to the side in order to close it. And the handle is made from TC4 titanium alloy. There is a steel insert at the detent area or at the top of the lock or the frame lock for strength. And you can see that is held by these two small little screws over here. Overall, I think the handle design is very modern. You can see the different chamfering at angles to create that very modern look. The centering of the blade, very good. And there are stainless steel spaces between the scales. And one interesting thing is the screws. These are flathead screws in recessed holes. So this is opposed to the more commonly used Torx T screws. There's a deep pocket clip, and this is also in that same morning night finish, so it blends in quite well. And I believe this material is also titanium because I used a magnet on it. Now there aren't many hot spots, even with the clip, and the clip is quite thin, but overall it fits well into the palm. I'd say the ergos are pretty fine for an urban EDC, for your typical light urban EDC task, but I don't think the handle was designed for heavy use such as an outdoor folder, but that was never the intention. So does the TwoSun TS21 make for a good urban EDC? Well, the knife costs just under $100 US. I bought it through AliExpress and it took about 2 months to arrive, so pretty long time. It is on the higher end of a budget knife price point, but I would say in general the Chinese knives are stepping up their quality and their prices lately. So you're essentially paying for the design and the titanium body. The blade steel is fine, although I think we're getting a bit spoilt with the different premium steels made available even with budget knives. Size-wise, I think it's a little bit too big for me to EDC it. I personally prefer blades that are 3 inches or shorter for the urban EDC. However, as part of a knife collection, I think this fits very well due to that morning night finish and the overall very modern design, which I don't really have many knives of. I would have this in my home office, and I'll use it for everyday use around the office. It also makes for a good conversation piece. While obviously a slightly longer knife, it is also not overly threatening as a murder-death weapon, although I guess that's subjective. If you're looking for a modern looking knife with a titanium handle and frame lock and you like this particular finish, I would say this is a good knife for your urban EDC collection. But let me know what you think. Do you like this particular TwoSun TS21 in this morning night finish? Because there are other finishes that come with this particular knife. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And do you have any other TwoSun knives that you think should be reviewed or you think are good and I should have a look at? Well, please share your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like the content in general, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep it folded, keep it safe.